What if I told you that being morally upright is not the most important quality of a successful leader? What if, in the harsh arena of politics, war, and power, it's not the purest, but the most adaptable, the most cunning, who prevails? History doesn't always reward the good. It rewards the effective. In the end, kings are not crowned for kindness, but for keeping the crown on their heads. There's a reason why Niccolò Machiavelli's The Prince, written over 500 years ago, still provokes, shocks, and fascinates. It's not because it teaches cruelty. It's because it teaches realism. One lesson stands out clearly. Flexibility in leadership is not just useful, it's essential. Welcome to The Unfolding Journey, a channel where we explore the layers of history, philosophy, power, and human behavior. If you're someone who seeks to understand the deeper mechanics behind leadership, influence, and decision-making, then you're in the right place. Let's begin today's exploration. The great man is not so much great in virtue as in his deeds. This quote captures the essence of Machiavellian realism. It flies in the face of traditional teachings about leadership. We are often taught that to lead well is to be moral, consistent, and virtuous. But history, cold, unsentimental history, tells a different story. Alexander the Great conquered most of the known world by 32, not because he was kind, but because he was decisive, adaptable, and relentless. Queen Elizabeth I held her throne through internal strife and foreign threats, not because she played fair, but because she played smart. Even in modern times, leaders who navigate shifting alliances, evolving economies, and unpredictable crises are rarely those who adhere strictly to one ideal. They are the ones who adjust. Flexibility is not weakness. It is the calculated art of survival. In The Prince, Machiavelli famously advises rulers to be both a lion and a fox, strong and fearsome, but also clever and sly. Why both? Because brute force alone is not enough. The lion might frighten the wolves, but he gets caught in traps. The fox, on the other hand, can detect and evade traps but cannot fend off wolves. A great leader, therefore, must know when to roar and when to retreat, when to strike and when to scheme. This duality is not hypocrisy. It's strategic ambiguity. It's what allows a leader to maneuver through the unpredictable currents of politics, war, and public opinion. Consider Winston Churchill. During World War II, he was unshakable in his speeches but often flexible behind closed doors. He shifted strategies, changed alliances, and redefined objectives, all while maintaining a steadfast public image. That's fox and lion working in harmony. Let's walk through some examples where adaptability became the defining trait of a leader. Abraham Lincoln began his political life with strong views against slavery, but he was also a pragmatist. The Emancipation Proclamation was not just a moral decision. It was a military strategy to weaken the Confederacy and strengthen the Union's moral cause. Lincoln flexed his tactics to meet the needs of a divided nation. Napoleon Bonaparte rose to power in post-revolutionary France, a time of chaos and ideological flux. He wrapped himself in the language of liberty, but crowned himself emperor. Was this betrayal? Or was it a masterstroke of leadership in a country that craved order? Napoleon morphed to meet the moment, blending revolutionary zeal with imperial power. These were not leaders bound by rigid principles. They were flexible, opportunistic, and deeply attuned to the realities around them. Let's return to Machiavelli's distinction between virtue and effectiveness. In classical philosophy, virtue, or virtu, is moral excellence, honesty, compassion, justice. But Machiavelli redefines virtue as the ability to shape one's fate through strength, wisdom, and shrewdness. It's about effectiveness, not purity. A prince may wish to be seen as generous, but if generosity leads to bankruptcy, that virtue becomes a vice. A leader may desire to be loved, but if being loved means being weak, then fear might be the better tool. It's not a rejection of morality, it's a reordering of priorities. A good leader must do good when possible, but must also be prepared to do what is necessary. Flexibility, then, is not about deception for its own sake. It's about navigating the ever-changing terrain of power with the tools that work. You might think this only applies to kings and emperors, but look closer. In business, the CEOs who survive are not those with rigid visions, but those who pivot. Think of Netflix. It began as a DVD rental service. Had its leadership stuck to that model, it would be extinct. But with a flexible mindset, Netflix transformed into a streaming giant and eventually into a production studio. That wasn't accidental. It was strategic adaptability. In politics, flexible leadership is equally essential. President Franklin D. Roosevelt shifted the role of government during the Great Depression with the New Deal, controversial, bold, and deeply pragmatic. He didn't wait for ideological purity. He moved with the needs of the time. In today's world, where information moves at lightning speed and crises erupt without warning, rigidity is fatal. Leaders must adapt or perish. Of course, this raises an important question. Where do we draw the line? If a leader is too flexible, does that not open the door to manipulation, tyranny, or betrayal? This is a valid concern. Flexibility should not become moral nihilism. The key lies in intent. If a leader changes course to better serve their people, to respond to new evidence, or to prevent disaster, that flexibility is wise and ethical. But if it serves only self-interest or power consolidation at the cost of human dignity, it becomes dangerous. Machiavelli is often accused of promoting deceit and cruelty. But what he actually promotes is realism. He wants leaders to see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. And in that world, the line between good and necessary is often blurred. The ethical, flexible leader is not the one who never lies or never changes direction. It's the one who lies when it prevents greater harm. The one who changes course when the original path leads to ruin. It's a heavy burden, but leadership was never meant to be easy. So, what do we learn from all of this? Leadership is not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. It's a dynamic, ever-evolving role that demands strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, and yes, flexibility. To lead effectively in times of uncertainty, conflict, or transformation, a leader must embody both moral awareness and tactical cunning. To be a lion and a fox. To act not out of rigid ideology, but out of informed adaptability. To recognize that greatness is measured not by static virtue, but by deeds, the choices made, the crises averted, the legacies forged. History remembers the flexible, the adaptable, the ones who moved with the storm and came out leading it. This is what Machiavelli teaches us. Not cruelty, not coldness, but realism. And the powerful truth that to be great, a leader must be many things, but above all must be flexible. Thank you for watching this episode on The Unfolding Journey, where we dive deep into the truths behind power, leadership, and history's lessons. If this sparked a new way of thinking for you, or challenged your assumptions, imagine what else lies ahead on this journey. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes where we explore everything from ancient philosophy to modern leadership dilemmas. Because leadership isn't just about titles. It's about choices. And those who understand the game write the future. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep unfolding the journey.